Hey everyone, welcome to today's Rise and Win Tips with your host, Rise and Win Coach Cynthia Newell of Dare to Dream, spiritual life coaching practice, where I get the divine honor to support my clients with creating a life that they look forward to waking up to and giving voice to their vision so that it has full expression in their life. I am so excited to be here. Thanks for anyone who's joining. If you missed any of my videos, my lives here, you can always subscribe to my YouTube channel, which is Dare to Dream. And you can find all of the lives there as well as additional videos for you to enjoy. And so if you can't make it here live on Mondays between 9 and 10 a.m., don't panic about it. You can always find the lives on my YouTube channel, Dare to Dream Spiritual Life Coaching Practice. And so, boy, I tell you what a difference a week makes. It has been an interesting week for me. I actually broke my computer, my screen some kind of way. So if you post, I can see your comments, but I don't know who's here. So if you come, you join the live, please, just say hey, so I could say hey back to you. But today I'm going to bring it to you. I have some good information that I want to share with you, a tip that will help you to release internal struggles effortlessly so that you can walk in newness. And as I'm sharing this broadcast, if you know someone that could benefit from today's tip, please share it in their inbox. You can share it on their page, share it with your groups, because my only goal here is to support you with rising and winning. And that does mean to release internal struggles effortlessly so you can walk in newness. That's my only goal with these tips. So I come, hit it quick, answer any questions you have, and then we're done. So today we're going to be talking about the tip for today is to choose faith. To choose faith. Now, I just said it's been an interesting week, shall I say that? But nevertheless, we have to choose faith. So let's just back up here for a minute. So, for anyone that's been following me, you know some of my story. I was diagnosed with stage 3 colon cancer a few years ago and had an operation that removed, part of my colon to get rid of the cancer. I had an unexpected pregnancy at 39 and gave birth to a beautiful little girl, Samantha, at 39. I've experienced homelessness. I've experienced being jobless. I've experienced climbing the corporate ladder at a Fortune 100 company. Sorry, I'm moving so much, trying to adjust my shoe. My house shoe came off my foot. All right. So I've had quite an interesting life, a lot of peaks and valleys, a lot of highs and lows as with anyone. But the difference maker with my life is I know that I'm a woman of faith. And I know that in order for God to use me greatly, sometimes we have to be bruised deeply. And that means coming out of the comforts of life that we enjoy a lot. And sometimes when we go through those valley moments, it can be tough to choose faith because all you see is what's around you. And so today I want to share 5 tips with you on how you can choose faith, how you can still hold that promise, in your mind, that vision that God has given you when it seems as though the waves are high and the winds are blowing very fiercely in your life. How can you stay encouraged, during those times? How can you hold on to the promise during that time? And so I want to talk to you about God gave me an acronym for you, and I'm going to type it in here, but I want to hear your aha moments. If something I say blesses you, if something that I say prompts a question, feel free. This is the platform for you to get the support that you need to release those internal conflicts. I'm about building resilience, building strength so you can be established and stable so you can move forward confidently towards the dream that God has given you for your life. No matter what it is, marriage, a business, birthing a book, losing weight, getting promoted on your job, you can do it. And so I'm going to be typing as I talk, because I want you to grab these. And so the first step to choosing faith is going to be focus on the promise only. So focus on the promise only. Now, what does that mean? Focus on the promise only. Sometimes we can get so distracted by what life is presenting to us. And sometimes it could take us off the path of the path that God has designed for us. And it could cause a delay. But if you keep the end in mind, I love how Stephen Covey says it. He says, begin with the end in mind, meaning you keep your focus on the end result all while you're moving about, because what that's going to do is it's going to help you keep things in perspective. Think about it this way. You have been invited to a party, right? And it's an after 5 party. And so the end in mind is the after 5 attire that you need to purchase. And so when you go to the store, you're not thinking about what you're going to wear to work, or you're not there to buy something to go out to a club. You're in that store with the end result in mind. I need to get something for an after 5 event. And so it shapes how you shop. You're not looking at things that don't fit that description. You're only looking at things that fit into that description, and that's going to help you get the end result that you want, which is a beautiful gown or a handsome tuxedo, so that you could be prepared for the after 5 event. And it's the same way in life. We have to look at the end result, and sometimes we get distracted. Yeah, we'll see that pretty little sweater that'll go good with our short boots, and we'll see that go good with our light colored jeans, but that's not what we're there for. And so, sometimes when those distractions come, we have to be wise, and we get that wisdom and that discernment through relationship with God, through prayer. Prayer and relationship with God will help you focus on the promise only. And so that's the first step. The next step with choosing faith today is align, and I'm typing this as I'm speaking, y'all, so bear with me. I don't have anyone here to type for me. So we're going to align with the promise. I can't chew bubblegum and walk, huh? Align with the promise through your actions. All right, so it kind of goes back to what I was just saying. Your actions are not going to, if you're there for the after 5 gown, you're not going to be looking for some jeans. You're not going to be looking for some tennis shoes. You're going to be looking for what you need so that you can show up as you're supposed to. So you want to align with the promise through your actions. What is the promise? What is the promise that God has made to you, shared with you, that you need to align your actions with? I'll be transparent. I'm known for being transparent. I feel like real support and help comes from people being transparent. A lot of times when you find yourself complaining about life or a particular area of your life, I've personally found that it's because you're out of alignment. You're out of alignment and you are focused on something else. You're focused on what is not going right, what someone is not doing, instead of focusing on the promise. When you focus on the promise and you align your actions with the promise, then it helps you to keep things in true perspective. It helps you to keep things in true perspective. And so you're not easily moved by what someone else is doing or what they're not doing. God gave me a vision a long time ago of reaching the masses. Why God gave me this vision, I don't know. And sometimes, just being quite honest, I wish that that cup would have passed from me, because it felt like for a long time, and sometimes it still does, it feels like a weight of all the stuff that I have to do. But God is showing me that through prayer and through relationship, my role and God's role. And so my actions are aligned. Whenever I'm concerned or worried about something, my actions When those emotions come over me, when I find myself feeling weary and well doing, I begin to pray. And so let your actions align with the promise. Align with the promise through your actions. You're not going to prepare yourself for something that's not a part of the promise. You wouldn't go buy ingredients for spaghetti when you wrote on your menu that you're going to be making roast beef. So, you want to align with the promise through your actions. If your goal is to release weight, if your goal is to write a book, you need to align your actions to show that you believe in that promise, that it will come to pass. And that comes through persistence, and consistency. Thinking of two words at the same time. So the first step to choosing faith is to focus on the promise only. And then the second step is to align with the promise through your actions. I hope that you're getting value from what I'm saying. I hope that this is encouraging to you, because sometimes we just need those elementary reminders so that we could get back on course and keep moving. So step number 3 is integrity. Integrity through your words and your thoughts. Choose integrity. What you say, what you think, it has an impact on the promise. Now, you can't say that, oh, I don't believe God is going to do this, or you have an attitude of it's taking so long, and you're discouraged and you're angry. You have to choose integrity even when no one's watching. What are you thinking? What are you saying to yourself? What verbiage are you playing inside of your head? Sometimes with some of the challenging, or what I perceive as challenging areas in my life, I have to stop myself from thinking or picturing the worst outcome ever. And I have to be conscious of that. The Bible tells us in the scripture to think on whatsoever things are lovely, are pure, and of a good report. It's very easy to immediately just start to think about what could go wrong. The conversation, if you have to have a conversation with someone, going wrong. It's easy to go that route, but it's more rewarding to go a different route. So choose integrity. And integrity simply means when no one is looking, no one is watching you, only you and God. Have good thoughts, good intentions. And, I didn't put that down, but I can also stand for your intentions. Make sure your intentions are sure, and that they are pure, and that they are according to the promise. Okay, so the first step in choosing faith is to focus on the promise. This is an acronym that God gave me last week. Focus on the promise only. The mental images that you have, focus on it. Focus on the end result. Begin with the end in mind. Let that motivate and inspire your actions. So that will allow you to align with the promise through your actions, because you're focusing on the promise, and you're not going to allow distractions to come up and steal your focus. You're going to align with the promise through your actions. And then you're going to choose integrity through your thoughts and your words. Everybody don't know what's going on up in there, but you know. And so when those thoughts of defeat, discouragement, dismay, disdain, contempt, anger, frustration, when those thoughts begin to speak things to you, like you need to quit, it's not even worth it, you look like a fool, aren't you tired of being embarrassed, aren't you tired of not getting the results that you desire, you have to change the script. That's one of the things that I teach in my Rise and Win group coaching program, changing the script, how to change the script continuously so that your thoughts align with the vision that you want to give value to. So let's move on to step number 4. So step 4 in choosing faith is to thank God for the manifestation of the promise. I'm trying to type and talk. So thank God for the manifestation of the promise. When you begin to thank God, when you begin to just praise God, when you begin to just express gratitude for the promise, even though it is not physically here, only parts of it are here, it does something to your mind. It encourages you to keep going. And what I've noticed about life is the promise filters through in small bits before you see the big magnitude of it. And so the promise, whatever it is, so for me, let's say this, I have been a problem solver. I've always been wise because I don't know, God just made me very wise. And so I desired to have a role where I can resolve conflict or, do things that allow me to use my mind to support people in creating better lives for themselves. And so, howbeit, I started out at a Fortune 100 company as a representative, helping them with their prescriptions. You need your medication according to the world to maintain a good lifestyle. Because I worked so well with customers and my interpersonal skills were really great, I was promoted to a different department where you're dealing with people that have long-term medications and they can save money on having these prescriptions mailed to them. In that role, God has just given me a spirit of excellence. Whatever I do, I seek to do it well. And so it frustrates me when things don't go the way that I want them to go. Nevertheless, in that role, I took count of the objections and created rebuttals. I prepared myself for the objections so that I could be successful in that role. And from there, because I am a teacher and a leader at heart, my superiors noticed that my conversion rate started increasing. So they inquired about it. What are you doing differently on these calls? And so I shared it. And from there, I was invited to train new employees on how to use these rebuttals. And from there, it went into the training manual. From there, I was promoted up and the rest is history. But what I'm saying to you is, the manifestation of the promise starts small, but we have to do our part. And in doing our part, God continues to open door after door after door. See, the problem is for us, we just see the big scale of the thing. We see the big vision, the big picture, and that's where we ultimately want to go overnight. But it doesn't work that way. Each step that we take, it builds character, it builds endurance, it builds wisdom. It teaches us something about ourselves and the promise. And so I want you to survey your life this week and see where your promise is showing up. Where is it manifesting in your life? I'm a writer at heart. And it never fails, wherever I find myself, whatever role, I'm writing something, and so I promise you that your promise is showing up in your life right now. Don't get stuck like many of us on waiting on the big manifestation. Take those small opportunities. Don't despise small beginnings. Take those small opportunities and make them great. Okay, so thank God in those small opportunities for the manifestation of the promise on a greater scale. So choosing faith means F, focusing on the promise only. A, aligning with the promise through our actions. I, choosing integrity through our thoughts and our words. T, thanking God for the manifestation of the promise. And H, honor the promise by preparing for it. And then this one is a twofold one. Honor the promise by preparing for it and hold the promise in your mind. So I'm going to talk about this just one moment. All right, so H, honor the promise by preparing for it. So kind of goes back to the analogy that I was sharing with you earlier. If you're shopping for an after 5 attire, you're not going to go to the store looking for a hip hop outfit. You're not. Honor the promise by preparing for it. Take ownership, and that's what we're going to talk about next week, but take ownership of what you don't know, what you need to know, and prepare for it. What things do you need to get in order to live the promise on a greater scale, to experience it in a new, more enjoyable way? Those are the things, those are the types of questions you want to ask yourself. How do I prepare for this promise? Are you wanting to be married? How do I prepare for marriage? What things do I need to do? Do I need to curtail my spending? Do I need to learn to listen more? Do I need to change my view of men? Do I need to be healed of emotional hurt from yesterday? What do you need to do to honor the promise through preparation? And then holding the promise in your mind. As a man thinketh, so he is. If you see yourself being, doing, and having the promise, I assure you, when it comes full throttle, when it comes full on, you won't feel like a stranger to it, because you've already gotten in association with the feelings, what it would feel like to wake up to your husband that you've been praying about for many, many years, what it would feel like to wake up and have people blowing your phone up for interviews about your book that you wrote and published, and they want to have conversations with you to help you promote your book. When you get into that place of seeing yourself being it, doing it, and having it, it doesn't feel like a dream that's impossible. It feels like a very possible dream because you see yourself there. I am the queen of vision boards. I often host vision board workshops regularly. And so in preparing for the promise, you create a vision board of all that, with your picture in the middle and all the things that are associated with your promise. You have to prepare for the promise, and holding the promise in your mind will help you become more attached to the reality that it is possible. So today I'm talking to you about choosing faith. And the steps that I gave to you today to choose faith is F, focus on the promise. This is an acronym for faith. Focus on the promise. There I go, trying to type and talk. Focus on the promise only, okay? Step number 2, align with the promise through your actions. Step number 3, choose integrity and intention through your words and your thoughts. Step number 4, thank God for the manifestation of the promise. And step number 5, honor the promise by preparing for it, and hold the promise in your mind by seeing yourself being, doing, and having it. All right, so I want to open up the floor for any questions, any aha moments, any breakthroughs. At this point, feel free to share. Again, I am Rise and Win Coach Cynthia Newell of Dare to Dream. I support you with releasing internal struggles effortlessly so that you can walk in newness. It is my desire to support men and women on giving voice to their vision so that it has full expression in their lives. And if you've missed any of my broadcasts, my Rise and Win tips, you can always subscribe to my YouTube channel, where not only will you find the tips there, but you will find other great content to help you rise and win. If there are no questions, I'm going to end today's broadcast, and I want to invite you to join me next week for Rise and Win tips. Until then, make it a great day on purpose.